Let's see. All right. I think it's working. Bada bing, bada boom. We got the stream going. Had to figure a couple of things out. But it works. Okay. So, interesting. Oh, we have a test. The index is out of range. This has happened before. Well, to catch everyone up to speed, what I'm doing today is I'm going to implement a feature. This one. So I'm going to implement social media login to our to just the login in general, so that you can register with Facebook or Twitter or Google. But I'm also going to try to fix this bug that we have with the bug that we have here in the unit tests. So this is an issue. So the list index is out of range. So does this index error? I'm gonna wrap this in this guy here. Except exception E. What? Let's do. Logger.critical and random ID, and we can print. Let's just print what's going on here. Okay, so we as E, and this is probably too broad. Yeah, well, that's fine. So yeah, I mean, essentially what we're trying to do here is we grab a random ID, but for some reason we can't filter it, and that might happen if max ID was in order, but this land data is specific to the user. Maybe this shouldn't be +1. Well, so we'll look at a few things about what might be happening here. Yeah, well, we'll take a look. So let's print the max ID as well. And hopefully we can learn something about what's causing this unit test to fail. I just fixed this week a big issue with the way that land is generated. So I had a variety of bugs with essentially passing. It's a transformation. So, well, we can show you, in fact. This will be in this week's blog post. Essentially what issue I had. Tools, world, land, output. So this is what we want to see. I can bring up Tokyo. That one's... Oh, I just set it as my background. It's not the first time that that's happened. It's actually flip-flopped. I mean, this should be on the left side of the image, but that's not important. So this is what this looks like now. It didn't for a while because of some miscellaneous buggy behavior I had. So if we find Tokyo, oh, that's interesting. Back then, it was displayed properly. This is what Tokyo actually looks like. But it was displayed. I mean, it's displayed properly here, but it wasn't calculated correctly because one of the things that was happening is so this, what I'm looking at here is this section of the image, the scale on the side. So this is the latitude, and that looks correct. 35.9 is at the upper end, and 35.5 is at the lower end. That's the same, yeah. So that's correct. But for whatever reason, the matplotlib plots it in this vertical shape, even though it should be in the horizontal shape and flipped. I think it's just a artifact that I have in what I'm doing to plot the lands in the map. In any case, I don't know if we can see an older example where it wasn't working correctly. No, maybe not. Well, in any case, it wasn't corrected previously, and there was a variety of small bugs that I was doing that was leading to that. And, well, the good news is now it seems to be fixed for the most part. And, well, that's that. So it would be great if we could find out what's causing this error to occur, but this might just be out of range. So this is probably like but let's do that too. Logger.info process starting land max ID, and we can output this guy, and maybe that will help us track down what's causing this issue. It's a somewhat of a rare bug, so it's hard to detect what's actually happening, for better or worse. I'd say 80%, 90% of the times it passes, but that might make sense if this max ID is out of a range of 5 or 6, and then yeah, I think it might be an off by 1 error, but okay, anyway, we'll deal with that in the future. Let's take a look at our original goal today, which is addressing the social media logins. So I'm using a library that's embedded in, not embedded, but as part of the Django REST framework for doing this. So I need to look at their documentation, and we'll find out what's going on here. So if you're not familiar, this is kind of interesting. So Django exists, and there used to be a library called REST-Auth. I think I can pull it up. Django REST-Auth. Yes. Probably this one. But if I recall, somewhere in here in the issues, maybe they wrote a thing that said that this is no longer being used. And I wonder if maybe it's not this one. Oh, updating is highly recommended. Yeah, I think it's this one. So somewhere in here, I think they mentioned that this is no longer being developed, and they recommend change to DJ rest off, or the folks at DJ rest off have mentioned not to use that one anymore. Yeah, this goes up to version 1.0.0. Oh, even beyond that, 2.1.3. But if we look at that other one, this one here, I think they stopped developing. Yeah, they stopped developing at 0.9.4. I'm surprised that they support Django REST Framework 3.0. That is a little bit surprising. I thought that came out after the fact, but well, it is what it is. So anyway, DJ REST auth is now the library that is recommended. So let's set up this social media thing. Basing on example from installation. All right, so there's probably a couple of things I need to set up to make this work. Let's see what we got here. Well, so today's stream, we're just doing some work here on social media logins. It's kind of a convenience thing if people can log in with that, so that's why we do it. And it's, I don't know, it's also kind of somewhat a pretty basic feature. Installed apps. So let's go to settings. Settings, base. And see what we have here. Installed apps, DJ rest off, Europe. Yeah, I did. Okay, if you want to enable standard registration process, you'll need to install Django all off by using and Django contrib sites all off account. Social account apps. Okay, we have Django contrib. We have all off. We have all off account. We need all off social account, and we need this one. All off that social account. And the site ID is 1 somewhere. Yeah. And I think I already have the URLs. DJ rest off. So maybe that's inside the app itself. Okay. Yeah. So this is DJ rest auth URLs and registration URLs. Okay, that all works. That's for registration. Okay, now we need to do using Django AllAuth. DJ RestAuth provides helpful class for creating social media authentication view. Points 1 and 2 are related to. So if you have already configured social authentication, then go to step 3. Okay, we need these bad boys. I'm surprised that's an important step. All right, so we go back to settings. Base. And let's put that here. Social account is already in there. I don't know, follow the documentation, right? All right, add social application in Django admin panel. Yeah, I don't really care about the admin panel. Create new views as a subclass of this bad boy. Create URL for Facebook login view. This is a view. Maybe this is super easy. I may have to test this after the stream, though. I don't know. I guess not. But I don't want to broadcast my entire Facebook to the internet. So that might be something I do later. In any case, let's take a look here. We have view. These views. Let's find the appropriate view that we want to deal with. Yeah, not the study stuff. We want some login. Settings view. Header view. Yeah, it could go near header. Challenge. Move. Oh yeah, I put all the views together. I haven't. I see. Yeah, I haven't separated these yet. It's on my to-do list to refactor this slightly and not put everything together. Okay. Let's just put it at the top. If that's really all that we have to do, that's pretty impressive. But there should be... There has to be one more something. Let's see what this does. Provider, Facebook, dialog, OAuth, graph API version. Hmm. So I expect that there's some type of, some UI component that I need to write. But this, complete login. Yeah, I might need to look, but that's all that does. Let's look at the root class. Okay. So class used for social authentication, example usage for Facebook with access token. Facebook with code. Fun stuff. This is a login view. So there's a process login, get response serializer. Post calls login. And it's going to process. Get response. Access token. Fun stuff. All right. Okay. That's an all auth account adapter. Always a good sign. Hack. This is not nice. All right, good to know. The proper Django way is to use an authentication backend. Huh. Yeah, I'm not familiar enough with how Django handles this type of deep miscellaneous stuff. Well, we'll let them have their hack. So in theory, I'm curious what happens if I call this endpoint. And I hope this is not just login, but also registration. And then I don't, maybe that's not supported. It'd be nice if we could also access a little bit of data, right? Like at least the account name or something else that comes back from the Facebook endpoint. I don't know if it's only a token. Because there's a few pieces of information we need to populate for our actual system. So, we'll have to see. Here's what we can do though. We can just add the endpoint. Auth. social auth APIs. Paste this guy in here. Okay, that makes sense. We have to import. We have to import this from .views. Import Facebook login. And then we can go to our unit tests. Let's close all these other windows though. Close others. We can go to our unit tests and take a look at something. Test API might be good. The settings test, the header test. User might be better. Yeah. All right. Class Facebook login test. API test case. And I don't know, yeah, response equals self dot client dot post reverse. What was that? Facebook something? In the URLs. Let's call this Facebook login. And see what we get as a response to this. Yeah, that would help. Def test Facebook login. I don't know, we can print the response and then let's add the 200 check. You know, there's always like an infinite number of small things that you can end up refactoring. So as I learn more and more about little tricks in Python, the expected value is this. Yeah, we don't actually want this. And the result is this. And as a result, our code is a little prettier. And let's add a breakpoint and let's edit the unit tests to, I have a readme that I wrote. Boo. I have a readme that I made to give me some notes on what I'm supposed to set this value as, because I would routinely forget. Edit the configuration. Okay, test backend JpnMana app tests user dot Facebook something. We'll go with that. All right, come on. It's right there. We want Facebook login test. Test user dot Facebook login test. And we got our breakpoint. So let's see what happens. Let's see what happens running this test. And that's a different thing. That's so YouTube emails me when I'm live on my own stream. Like, what? I know I'm live. Why would you have to tell me? It is what it is. The unit tests take a little bit of time. It's you know what this time is? It's the there's an optimization that I should write, but I haven't gotten around to doing it. It's the so what this is processing right now is it's kind of cool actually. I in a way I really commend the people that wrote Django. So what happens is it creates a temporary database and reruns all of the migrations after each test, which is good because then you're operating on a clean database, quote unquote database every time. And I imagine behind the scenes it's just running SQLite. And well, that's not good. Social app matching query does not exist. That does not sound like that's related to my code. Let's see what the internet has to say about this. Well, I'm not the only one. I'm using JpnMana configured with the follow. Interesting. It could be because I didn't set any post values. Using Django admin, you need to create a social app listing your Facebook app credentials. Make sure that this app is attached to the proper site. Okay. That makes sense. So you have to register your app with Facebook. Yeah, I mean, duh, of course. Okay. I will do that. In the future, because I don't want to inadvertently do something stupid here on stream and let everyone see the key by accident. And they don't always hide that stuff. Well, and so if I did it off screen, it wouldn't be interesting either. So let's stick this in another branch. Social login branch. And I will do that at another time. Before we leave, though, we can They also have GitHub. Wow. Yeah, sorry, before we leave, let's also set up Twitter. Oh, wait, what? What is additional? All right, create. That's the Facebook. We can go ahead and add. Let's go ahead and add Twitter as well. Path. This guy. Twitter login. We can grab some more. This one's yeah, okay. Well, let's just grab it all, and then we'll do it one by one. Views. Here we go. Well, okay, that one's already in there. Yeah, this is already in there. And that will have to be like that. And this needs to move down the chain. Additional, if you want to allow connecting existing accounts in addition. I see. So, yeah. Oh, that's kind of cool. You could connect Twitter so that people can tweet whatever it is that people tweet. That's cute. And the other big one that I want, for convenience sake, is I think they have a list somewhere. In fact, I know they have a list. I've seen it before. Oh, come on, man. Let's. Yeah, it's not the demo project. Unless this links to. No. I think this is just the documentation as well. Boo. Alright, well, that's what we wanted anyway. They have a giant list of all the social logins. Registration? No. Boo. Why can't we find it? DJ rest off. Social media logins. Yeah, there's an example. So we register with GitHub. See, I want to do this not through this. Like, I should be able to do this through migrations. And, well, anyway, we'll do that at a later time. That will at least help us do something useful. What I would like to see, though, is the complete list of social media accounts. One of these files has to have the complete list because it doesn't have a choice. They had to write all this stuff somewhere. That might be harder to find than I wanted, though. All right, maybe our dear friend autocomplete can help us. If we jump to Twitter login, see, this one is interesting. Disconnect social account from remote service for the currently logged in user. Like, I can see a bunch of people implementing this one, right, to connect. But I could also see people not implementing this one, which is the ability to disconnect your social media account from maybe they do, though. Like, a lazy developer might not do that and then call the feature finished. Like, I don't know, it seems like you could just bullshit it, right? Like, just post something that says disconnected to the user but not actually go through the steps of doing it. I mean, sure, that's a shitty thing to do, but I don't know, like, don't people do that? And then if you're lazy and irresponsible, I could see someone writing that and just, I don't know, not treating it as not their problem. But let's find the thing that we want. DJ rest off all social media logins. Come on, man. They gotta have the list somewhere. I've seen it before. I've seen this list before somewhere. I'm not crazy. All of social accounts. Helpers, models, providers. Social. Default app config all off. Social. It's not here though. Import is needed only if we are using social login, in which case. Alright. The helpers. Come on, man. Where is this bad boy? Maybe the one person in chat can tell me. Twitter Connect Serializer. There has to be a master list somewhere. Where would it be? Social account. It's not the helpers, the models. No. That's the generic one. Social account is also just a model. Let's look up all off social accounts. Providers. Someone forked it. Not what we need. Supported providers. There we go. The latest version, the documentation. We're getting close. Okay, providers. Yay. God, you can, 23andMe, like, people, people are logging in with 23andMe into this thing. Apple, oh man, there's a million. All right, we'll just do the big one. All right, I see. After you create a project, you have to create a client ID. So we have to register with all this stuff. Yeah, that makes sense too. Globus? Wow. Man, they have everything, huh? App database. Signals, views, login, social connections. Email verification. Depending on the accounts, there's a sent pointing to the all view. Determines whether users have to manually confirm the address by submitting a. Alright, well, in any case, this should go through here. But I wonder, Django, you know, in the Twitter example, we were given this view. These guys. Facebook.views. All right, let's open this in Explorer. And yeah. Oh, no, don't do that. You know, this kind of classic, right? So I find one example on the internet in the all thing, and then, oh, like, yeah, here's the other example where I could have found this list and done all the same things. So, man, you know, what are you going to do? It's kind of like just my luck, right? So if we look at this guy, is it just this adapter that's necessary? Maybe so. Yeah, probably. You know, my clock is off on my PC because I dual boot occasionally into Linux, and it screws up the not Google current Tokyo time. Yeah, all right, I got 15 minutes left. All right, well, in any case, we got the main meat and potatoes of what we need here. In theory, I'm going to try and do this. So we're going to go for 3, right? Twitter, Facebook, and Google, and see how far that gets us. Google login. Social login view. Adapter class. I mean, I'll be honest, this is just my guess. This is that correct? Default URL the tests. And the provider. Get avatar. Get profile URL. All right, maybe we do have some access to some of those other things. OF2 login. This thing. That, you know, that's kind of annoying. They do the preview, but like, oh, come on, like, let me just copy and paste right out of that thing. All right, and then let's compare this to the Facebook one. That will give us an idea if it works the same way. Like EVE Online, like really? Like someone's gonna register EVE Online? Coinbase? Like, That's so weird to me. Like, yeah, let's support a Shopify login. What? Who's using Shopify to log in? I mean, Steam might kind of make sense for games. But, man, I don't know. Like, at some point, it seems overkill. Anyway, Facebook. So the Facebook view also has this OAuth 2 adapter, but I'm not using that. Let's split this guy. Move to other view. All right. Yeah, so are we using the Facebook OAuth? I don't think we are, right? Ah, we are. Okay. So in theory, if we do this, I guess what it looks for, it must be this complete login function, because that's the only thing that's in both. Like, man, you got to hand it to Google. Oh. Huh, interesting. I mean, somehow Facebook needs these other functions. Complete login. So that calls this, but somehow profile URL. I mean, it's interesting to me that there's such a difference between these two systems, between Facebook and Google. Well, anyway, this must be the function that gets called by, essentially via the pointer. So this login, and then the OAuth 2 callback. All right. Well, in any case, this bad boy should give us what we want, and then that will support, from all auth, social accounts, providers, Google. Yet another way that I could have easily found the thing that I wanted, right? What's the list of things? Like, oh, providers, there's the whole list of all the things I needed. Like, of course, I run across it now, right? I don't know. It's funny how those things happen. Well, all right. Anyway, the next step is I should go register my app with these 3 services. Twitter uses OAuth, not OAuth 2. So that's one of the differences of Twitter, huh? I need to go register with those 3 services and then presumably stick a key somewhere. This gentleman has, well, I don't know where it is now. Well, this is one of them, but then we also found the other link where the guy looks like he has a walkthrough. So, hey, well, we'll do that. We'll register those things, and it looks like there's some kind of BS stuff that we have to do on this section here. But this admin thing is just writing data to the models. So, wait, what? Don't close that. There's, the naive well, not naive, but a mediocre approach would be to, well, okay, like do this by hand the first time locally, find out what that's writing to what tables in the SQLite database, which is like pretty easy to access, right? So I don't, if you folks out there don't know this tool, DB SQLite, DB browser for SQLite. I mean, this thing's super convenient because it lets you do things that are useful. Particularly, it lets you look at all the data in the database. So this is all the tables, and then you can browse data. And I only have a single group or whatever, but in any case, that's pretty effective for basically I can go look at what tables get generated from doing this admin process, and then the next step would be to find out whatever data, the secret key and this client ID, sites, where does this stuff get written to? And then copy that data out of DB browser into a migrations file so that when we migrate, that stuff gets auto-populated. This create world function, right? We just make another one called, register social media logins, and essentially monkey's your uncle after that. Everything should be fine. The key after that is, well, if someone downloaded or hacked the I keep on closing that. I need that tab. If somebody hacked your site or whatever, they could get access to that key. So like one step further, we like presumably it's better to store that in an environment variable potentially, or one of the other things that Amazon does is they have a separate store that allows you to store those types of credentials, essentially not in the code. And really, I guess, if they got access to the server that's running your site, like, well, they could have, if they have root access, etc., they could get access to those environment variables as well. But obviously, ideally, that doesn't happen. The server should be fairly secure, but if you put it in the migrations file directly, then they could access. If they got access to your GitHub, for example, they would have your keys for your social logins, which might not be the best thing. It's probably better to not do that, not push that code to Git, and instead, do it a different way through the environment variable, so that like it requires root access to the well, I guess it's not. It probably is not root access to see the environment variables. Well, but yeah, that's cute too. If you don't save the environment variables, but if you reinitialize them every time you log in, that could help prevent someone from seeing those things. If I recall correctly, a different user wouldn't have access to what those environment variables are. But in any case, this is a work in progress. So, I will continue to set this up, register some accounts, and then I need to add, like there's probably some buttons. View. What are we looking for? Social login. Element. I use. Vue.js element UI social login. I don't know if they have. I don't think this library has components for social media login. That's kind of weird. Yeah, that's not a thing. Social media login buttons. I think face. Well, all right, yeah, that's easy. Like, there's a million of them. Oh, well, yeah, that makes sense too. Facebook would just make their own button and brand it themselves and let you download it however you like. Makes sense. Makes sense. Facebook for developers, get that thing. And I'm sure Google has their own, and so on and so on. Look at that, Google Plus. I don't think Google Plus is a thing anymore. But or do they still call it Google account login button? Sign in branding guidelines. Yeah, they don't call it that anymore. Yeah, it's just Google, right? All right. Well, in any case, that's what we will continue to do. I don't know if I'll finish it today. Got a lot of work. Not a lot of work, but a lot of miscellaneous other things I need to take care of today. So, we'll see if I get to that this weekend or not. One of the things we can do while we're here is if we load up GIMP, GIMP is surprisingly time-consuming load. This week we got week 19 coming up on week 26. So week 26 is a 6-month point, right? So it's kind of exciting. Week 26 though, not bad. What am I looking for here? Yes, this is what we're looking for. Let's make we got week 19, and what are we calling this week? World fix. That took like an unbelievable amount of time. I probably spent 40 hours searching for the source of that bug. What a nightmare. I mean, like, that was I spent like part of my life doing that, like a non-trivial amount either. But hey, at the end of the day, we got the bug fixed, so that's nice at least. So we're gonna post this to 19. I don't know, such is life. If I were a smarter person, it wouldn't have taken me 40 hours to figure out the bug. It's cute. There was 3 bugs. Well, and I'll post it in the dev blog YouTube recap for this week. But the short version is there was 3 bugs, essentially. And they all kind of compounded on each other. So I would fix one bug, and then okay, like, good, I found a bug and I fixed it. Like, that should fix the whole thing. And then I run it and, like, wait, it's still not right. Like, something's off. So then, okay, well, did I just introduce a bug then, or did I actually fix a bug? And so then you'd have to, go back and double check. Like, no, like, those, that adds up to 7. That's what it's supposed to be. Like, this is all correct. And then you go and start looking for other bugs. But then you realize, like, okay, well, maybe it's before that. And then you find another bug and you're like, you fix that. And then you're like, okay, like, that must have fixed it. Oh, shit, it's still wrong. Okay, but now is this the actual bug? And then was I wrong the first time? And so, like, should I go back? Maybe 7's not correct. And then you go back and switch that. And, man, combine that with the amount of time it takes to run the unit tests. And this is the cute part. So the unit tests fail. I mean, the unit tests take a long time because they generate the entire world data each time, because the database, gets cleared after each test. And that's good so that, data doesn't, like, compound on itself to do what it's supposed to do. The downside is that by doing that, the tests take a longer time to run. And in order to debug this, I was working through the unit tests, which is probably the right thing to do. But now that the world works correctly, the thing that I want to do is change the way, and I want to, sorry, before I forget, I want to comment out this test so that the test will pass and I can go back and fix that original bug. So the tests compound on, so the tests don't compound the error, basically. It clears, I think it's confusing. I don't know. Maybe it must save the state, the initial state of the database or something, and revert back to that. Because I recall reading where the database gets reset after each test. I don't know if it's actually each test or each API test case. It might. No, it's after each test, because I create user in a number of tests and the user is gone after each one. Oh, that's hilarious. And then, small mistakes like this. Well, that was 42 seconds, right? And so, it just adds time to bug fixing. But the cute thing about fixing this bug in general, about the land, the whole point of fixing this land generation bug, originally I just thought it was a flaky test, because sometimes the land would be generated with some randomness and then it was somehow leading to a particular bug. But the actual bug was that my projection into Mercator projection wasn't being done properly, and so I would get this weird, the distance between two adjacent cells, which is supposed to only be like 10 kilometers apart, would end up being like 200 kilometers apart. And essentially there was a mapping between adjacent cells that was incorrect. That's cute, the max ID is 4177. Process starting land. So I wonder if that's my bug, but I would expect it to fail every time. All right, well, we'll have to keep on looking. In any case, going back, the bug that, now that bug is fixed, the beauty of having the bug fixed in is that I can now make a reduced, and I've been going back and forth on this idea, but the idea would be to reduce the size of the like, you can see it here, right? The thing that takes all the time is loading the migrations.py, and it's because there's 4,200 cells, but then adjacent cells are connected, and basically there's like 5 connections per cell, so it's 5 times 4,000, right? So I don't know, roughly 20,000 lines that get generated between adjacent cells, and reading all that data in is what takes so long. And this is always fun too, right? Like, I just trigger that bug that happened, and well, that bug only happens 1 in 6 times. And well, so anyway, going back, this adjacency migration data set, I basically want to regenerate the world using a much smaller data set. So instead of 4,000 cells, like, nah, just do me like 200 cells, and like the distance between cells will be really long, but then this unit test should run a lot faster. But I go back and forth on this because, well, some of the tests for movement, for example, the cost of action points is based on the distance, but then the distance is going to be based on the distance between cells. And so, like, I should dynamically generate that based on the average distance across all cells, and then modulate the cost of movement. The action point cost should be modulated based on this average cost. So then the action points would be, like, the starting action points would be equal to like 5 times the average distance between cells. And that would give the player enough action points to do whatever it is they're supposed to do. Or I guess an easier way, engineers sometimes over-engineer things. An easier way, now that I think about it, would be, I should just give, for the movement stuff, but man, that's dangerous too. For the movement stuff, one thing I could do is just give the user 10,000 action points to begin with, and then I don't have to care about, it's 200 kilometers away because there's only 50 cells. The downside of that, though, is that the original bug that I was having was based on the, the original bug that I was having was only discovered because when I had these long distance positions or whatever to move, the error message that I would get back in the response was that the player didn't have enough movement points. So it was, like the amount of movement points is supposed to be like 10, basically 1 per kilometer, right? And adjacent cells are supposed to be only 10 kilometers apart. But in any case, that wasn't happening, and so that was essentially the bug that I was having. And now that I think about it, I should, for anyone watching, we should just launch the most recent version of this guy so that, it'll be in the weekly roundup of, and that's funny too. Like, of course, I can't find the actual bug that's happening. Like, we ran this test, I don't know, so many times, but, well, it is what it is. I guess there's worse problems. It could be last week when I still had that one bug that was happening like 9 out of 10 times. But, okay, so if we run this server, I've got the front end running. We can do a quick sneak preview of some of the fancy stuff that we have coming this week. And I'm still logged in. So if we go to the world, we can zoom in, and basically, I think this character started at 2093, and I've moved the character to 28. I've moved the character around a few times. I basically came down this path, and then I went up to 2088. And 2088 is in Toyama Ken, and 1307 is in Gifu. Yeah, so it's working because, occasionally in the past I used to have a land like over here, which wasn't supposed to be there, but now I don't. So the world map is working. There's a new bug. So 28. Let's go to 2892, and this is gonna take a minute, and it's 10 action points, and I have 60. All right, so the new bug fix, like, okay, that pop-up comes up, but we don't get this timer update. So this is the new work. I have to refresh right now. That's lame. In order to populate the timer with the new data. It's because it's, the timer data is on the back end. So, well, anyway, there's that. So once that gets updated, the new bug is that I have to refresh twice, actually, to populate the world data here. So that will be next week's bug that I will address. I don't want to have to refresh twice for obvious reasons. It's a terrible UI experience, or UX experience. So we'll address that this next week, and that will be that. But it'll be good. That'll be good. No, not that one. All right, we got 38 seconds left. A little bit longer. And then we can call it done. Fun stuff. Well, so anyway, those would be the things to do on next week. Fix this refresh thing. If I can figure out the unit test bug, I'll do that. And then the last one will be some other thing that is jumping out of my head right now. All right, so this guy arrived, right? So now if we refresh once, that will resolve the movement. So we can see this character is no longer moving. His timer is 0 because, well, he's not moving. We can't cancel because he's not doing any work or moving. But if we zoom in, we have the same map. See that he's at 2892, but we have the same map. So if we refresh again, now we have the lands that are adjacent to 2892, to 93, 98, and 97 are the new lands. Maybe 13, 14. I don't remember if that was already on the map. One of the other features that I will want to add real soon is that I need to change the color of the icons based on whether or not the status is seen or known. So known means that you've actually visited that place. So 2892 would be known right now. 2888, where the unit just came from, would be known. 2898 would be seen. So we haven't visited there. And then I'm also debating, like, for these stats, maybe I hide these stats for seen. You have to visit the place for these things to become known. So you could see the basic information and probably terrain, right? But in order to see the rice, the wood, the iron, science, harmony, and elevation, you actually have to visit. And then if there's anything that's on that spot of land, that should probably be a separate window here. And that's behind my face. So, well, yeah, that's not helpful. Well, anyway, I know that can be in this block here. Man, well, hopefully I get better at streaming as well, right? In any case, some buildings that are unique to the area can be here. And one final thing that I talked about this week is I have a newfound appreciation about the history and culture of Okayama Prefecture. So I read a variety of different things about Okayama because I'm fleshing out some of the gameplay with the friend of mine who's doing the game design, and it's coming together. But it is what it is. It's not quite done yet. But well, in any case, I think that will do it for today's live stream. I don't know. We went almost an hour and a half now. I'm sure people are getting bored. So let's do that. We're going to end the stream here. Thanks to my viewer. I'm sure it's a friend of mine. But in any case, that is going to do it for week 19. More exciting stuff coming next week, so stay tuned. Thanks for joining us on stream, and for the folks that see this later, thanks for watching. Appreciate it. See you next week.